there is nobody there. Nobody left to care. Gone with the penny arcade, where we spent our childhood days. When I take a look around, all I see are heads bowed down, with eyes affixed on Samsung's screen, watching someone else's dream. Well, the bus conductor's gone. Just swipe your card and head for home. And that old treehouse where we played sits forgotten and decayed. When I take a look around, all I see are heads bowed down, with eyes affixed on Samsung's screen, watching someone else's dream. So no more the penny arcade, KFC is there instead, and that tree we used to climb is sad and lonely most of the time. When I take a look around, all I see are heads bowed down, with eyes affixed on Samsung's screen, watching someone else's dream. And when I look around, all I see are heads bowed down, with eyes affixed on Samsung's screen, watching someone else's dream, watching someone else's dream.
Oh, good evening, everyone. I didn't know what was happening at the end there. I thought that was an appropriate song since we've gone so far away from our beautiful organic gardens and farming seems to be disappearing. So I thought it was a beautiful song to start with, and it was written, I believe, by that beautiful doctor in New Zealand. So anyway, we have now got the beautiful Helen and Hugo from Farming Secrets. So they're going to teach us and tell us about their journey from chemicals to natural farming and how they're helping other farmers come on now. So I'm very excited to have them. I'm just add them to the stage, I think. Hi, Helen. Hi, Hugo.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you, and hello, everyone.
Oh, so let's start off with how you guys started, how you were first into chemical farming. Is that right?
Selling chemicals.
Selling chemicals. Okay, well, off you go. Let's hear about your journey.
Okay, so Hugo, you start because
it's been a long journey. I've been involved with farming all my life. My parents were farmers, and my mother was a trained veterinary person in small animals. And small animals meant not cows and horses, anything else smaller. Anyway, we had a poultry farm. It started off with 200 birds, and by the time I was by the time I was started to work, we had up to about 1,000 birds. And the interesting thing was that I continually learnt right from that time when we had a poultry farm. We'd occasionally have a sick chook. If we did have a sick chook, it would be put in a little pen, and then we'd probably killed and ate it ourselves, or didn't give it to the cats. But meaning it was still a good edible chook. And we'd go to the neighbour's place, and there he had 1,000 chooks too. He was ahead of us. He had his 1,200 chooks ahead of us having ours, and he had his sheds in a long row and a footpath going along the front row. And it was quite common to see anything like 6 or 12 dead chooks on the footpath, ready to go to the compost heap. And we just didn't have them. So that was my first awakening in there's something different in farming. And then I'll cut a story short. We was in partnership with a partner, naturally, and we farmed for about 10, 13 years. Days when you could, farming was a piece of cake. We'd rent land, and we'd even, at the later stage, we had contractors growing crops for us, and you just couldn't. It was rare to not make money, and we were successful enough in that we started a produce store. Now, the interesting thing about starting the produce store, it was a very small produce store that developed into quite a large farm supply store as time went on. As time went on, it happened very quickly. And in the produce store, it was a pretty big store in those days too. Had one farmer come in, and he was in his 50s, and I was in my 20s, mid-20s, and I thought, oh, he's an old fella. He's pretty old. And he said he has to give up orcharding because he'd got a crook heart. And I thought, oh, okay. And there's another farmer came in, and again, he had given up orcharding in the local area, which was in Park Orchards. And he said he had a crook heart. So he started growing tomatoes on a small scale on the banks of the what are you saying, Helen?
sorry.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, so this is good because I'm presuming the bad hearts were from
because it all started. It was my first awakening, like a second awakening, and another farmer came in. He said, "Oh yeah, I know those two farmers." He said, "What got them was a particular chemical that was so powerful. I won't mention its name. That the grubs would actually crawl out of the apples." And he.
Is there a reason why you can't mention the name?
Oh, I prefer not to.
Do we still use it?
Oh, no. Actually, he told me the name. It was called gasothine.
Gasothine. Oh, sounds deadly.
In those days, they didn't have fancy names for the chemicals. There was ICI chemicals, Shell chemicals, and there's no fancy names. Anyway, he said, yeah, these guys actually poison themselves from the chemicals they're using, and he explained the chemicals that they were using. And on the drums, there was actually labels. You were trying to say something, Helen? What's going on? Can I keep talking?
I thought that was my story.
No, Helen. Your story comes in later. As you can see, Donna, we haven't rehearsed this.
No, very good. Keep going. It's authentic.
Yeah, lost my train of thought. in those days, the instructions were on the drums, yeah, but the farmers didn't take heed of the instructions. And when I did, and going back, jumping way ahead, which we'll come back to, when we did we're the first people in our buying group to do farm chemical training. And
Right.
what we learned then was the various members came together, and there's about 12 of us doing the very first course, and they would tell me what they was openly said. Oh, farmers would be spraying vegetables. They'd use 2 insecticides, 2 fungicides, and a couple of stickers. A couple of stickers are things that make those products stick to the leaf. And those spraying things like lettuces, cabbages, any common things, they've been spraying with this cocktail of between, more than 2 products that were put in the vats. And so there was pretty, and they quite often would not wear gloves and things like that, handling. So, Helen, do you want to sort of continue on from there on? So it's been a series of awakenings for me that has led us to where we are now. And just going back to the farm supply store, we'd be selling pallet loads of a product called Causmag, which was a grass tetany product which animals would get when the grass was gutless. And then we'd have a farmer come in and said, I don't have that product. All I do is every second year I put out chook manure, and I have far more grass than all my neighbours have, and I don't have sick animals. And at the same time, another farmer came in and said, I don't have, being sort of very active on the floor in the farm supply store, I'd be telling farmers, oh, maybe you need some Causmag or etc. And this farmer said, no, I use a mineral fertiliser and I don't have troubles like that. So it's little things like that that had me realise, or an opening, that things were not right.
Yeah. Okay.
And my big awakening, I think I told you, Donna, I was a school teacher, but Hugo needed a stock take done, so I thought, oh, well, I'll go and help him. And I knew nothing about his business really, but I started counting these drums, and I came up to a drum and it had literally skull and crossbones on it, poison across the bottom. And I said, Hugo, who's buying this? Who are you selling this to? And he said, oh, the orchardists and those couple of guys, I suppose. And I said, we can't sell this. It just didn't make any sense to me, because I'm a very caring person. And I thought, no, we can't do this. So we started looking for alternative products. This is back in the early 70s, and they were very hard to find, mineral fertilizers. And we eventually found fish and seaweed fertilizers. So we were still selling the chemicals. We started stocking the minerals and the fish and things like this. And the guys who were working in the store didn't want to sell this weird stuff. But Hugo insisted it was a drive-through store and had 2 levels, to put all the products we wanted to be sold and all the chemicals down the bottom. So the guys had to go and pick them up and cart them up the cart. So they didn't want to do that. So we started selling these quite successfully. And it coincided with the time that we met Pat Colby, who is a world-renowned pioneer of natural farming. And I've got her book here somewhere.
She's got 4 or 5 books written.
People would ring. She wrote.
Yes.
Fabulous person. And we met her, and I ended up, I'm jumping too now. We realised we did not want to sell these chemicals, but we were making a living selling chemicals, but trying to sell the other stuff. We met Pat, who was telling farmers to use natural stock supplements, calcium, seaweed, cobalt, boron, all sorts of
copper, sulfur.
And she found we were selling her products that she was advising, so we sort of went in her books as well. And people used to come. We employed a naturopath. We held health talks for farms and animals.
Yes.
And, but it got to the stage, it was pretty hard talking to people who have this mindset. So we sold the business and bought the fish and seaweed manufacturing company for fertiliser stock supplements. We didn't have anywhere.
Where are you based? Where are you based?
We were in Lilydale, Yarra Valley.
Okay, yes.
So we started going to all the farm shows and had a little stall and met thousands and thousands of farmers who, I'd say half of them were really pleased to hear our story about how they shouldn't be buying chemicals. Yes. And we met very successful farmers who weren't using the chemicals. And in the end, I said to Hugo, well, a lot of people don't know about what we know, and I would rather, being a teacher, film all these successful farmers. And so we ended up selling the company, manufacturing the seaweed and fish fertiliser, and started filming. And that was when we started Farming Secrets, because they were farming secrets. You know, farmers still don't know how important the soil is, and they're still piling on synthetic chemicals onto the soil and killing the very life that gives the growth and natural, nutrient-dense food. So we're now at this stage that we've had this Farming Secrets was run by a young chap for 4 years, because we thought we'll get someone else to do it and we'll retire gracefully. He left, so we kept going. And then recently we had another couple saying, oh, can we do all your marketing? And I said, yes, but they only lasted 6 months and they left. So we're back here, and we've really revamped and out to share this with everyone. And it's much, much easier than burning DVDs and posting them, which we used to do. And so now we have, we're just about to launch our Farming Secrets Club. Again, a Soil Lovers Club it's called now. And
Soil Lovers Club.
Soil Lovers Club. And it'll start at $7, so that it's not too much of a barrier for people to start getting proper information. So that's where we are now. That's a really rushed, brief history, but it's not different to the whole pandemic thing and people becoming very, very aware of how we've been conned by the government with, well, it's the same companies with the pharmaceuticals who are selling the agricultural products. They're just in for the money, and the farmers have gone backwards because they're putting on more and more and buying more and more, and the salespeople haven't got a clue about healthy soil, and they don't even teach it anymore. They just teach which chemical to use. So we've got a big job, but it's exciting, and we are meeting heaps more people, and the message is growing, so it's fabulous.
Yes. So you don't actually have a farm. You're educating other farmers now. Is that right?
Yes, we're on 3 acres up in the Dandenong Ranges.
Well, what we've done, Donna, is because we've filmed experts and we've filmed successful farmers, this is going back 20 years ago, starting 20-odd years ago, quite a few of those farms are still in existence.
Oh, yes.
Their children are taking over their farms. They're still very successful, and they're well ahead of their neighbours. And so they recently we had someone, our partner, new partners, who started, to learn. They went through most of our DVDs, and they would put one on per night, and they'd got so much out of it, and they found it was far more entertaining than anything else they had. So they just put them on one after another to learn as much as they could, because they've got quite a decent farm. So the other interesting thing too, Donna, is that we've got a lot of friends who have retired, and I just can't retire because what we're doing seems to be so exciting, so useful that
so important.
I can't retire.
Good. We don't want you to retire. We need more of you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And another interesting point too is it's been bandied around that the most noble profession is farming. And when you look at the word profession, farming is actually a profession.
Absolutely.
And especially, and I say especially when they're producing food that is keeping people healthy. And it's really only then, because as we all know, all of your listeners and you would know, the non-contagious illnesses are just keep growing, and younger people are getting them. When I was a child, or my adolescent, we only, as a family, knew of one person who had cancer. Only one person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, healthy food is the basis. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are now wanting to grow their own food.
Yes.
And we want those people, gardeners, to be aware of us too, because it's all the same. It's the soil. It's healthy soil, and people go nuts about pulling weeds out or killing weeds and things like that. Weeds are just there to show you what's lacking in your soil. When you really understand what nature is doing to help people grow, and the weeds bring up calcium and all the minerals that might be missing. There's fungi that bring in micro nutrients and things like this. The way the soil works, and my wake up was looking through a microscope and seeing little microbes going into the roots of the plants. And it was, and it was just so exciting. And I think if a farmer could see his soil and see that life that's happening under the ground, they would probably understand way more about what they're doing when they put on these inert chemicals, which don't help the biology, and the poisons they kill. It's like using fly spray, I suppose, or something like that, which I don't. I use a swat if I really have a buzzy fly.
So how are you getting the word out to farmers? How are they finding out about you?
Basically online now. We don't go to the field days anymore. So we've got a website, farmingsecrets.com, and we put up different things. Like at the moment, we've got debunking the myths of regenerative farming, which regenerative farming is the key word now. Everyone's starting to wake up that regenerative farming is where we need to head, and we need to leave behind the industrial corporations who are pushing their stuff and start making our own composts. And we have a lot of posts. We have Hugo using the worm casting to make worm teas and things like that. So we do little clips of stuff here, and we take clips out of our filming and we put it on the social posts. But if people go to farmingsecrets.com,
Farming secrets or farmers?
Just farmingsecrets.com.
Okay. I've put the wrong thing up, sorry. Farming secrets.
Farming secrets. They will find
farming.
Lots and lots of free information that by clicking along the top, there's our courses, there's blogs, there's past webinars. We just did one today with a lady who's got a school competition, and we saw the videos the kids were making, and one was like a real professional going around doing his songs. It was just brilliant, and it was so heartening to see that people are starting to see it starts with kids. And we have a little
into schools.
Exactly. And we have a little soil, 7 Steps of Healthy Soils, which when you become a member, it's simple. The kids love it. And you know if your soil is healthy, and we give you exercises to start returning the health to the soil. And it's the kids that love doing it. It's really it's exciting.
It is. You need to get into the homeschooling communities as well.
Absolutely. And today someone said, well, why aren't the community gardens with the soil, the kids entering these competitions? They can. It's just a matter of getting word out. And Bev, who runs it, is nuts about soil too, but it's just herself. And she gets the scholarship funded by an old farmer who gives her $10,000 each year to hand out awards. And it's just very, very exciting to see what's happening there. So if people want to know more about that too, we'll be putting that webinar replay up on we've also got another website called Soil Learning Centre, and that was started to really emphasise the soil. And so you can actually there's free resources, and there's blogs, past webinars, things like worm tea recipes and the Agricultural Testament, a lot of old references that they might be old, but they're way more helpful to farmers than what.
More advanced, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how many farmers do you think have you helped so far that have transitioned over?
I couldn't count many.
Thousands, I'd say.
In the thousands.
Yeah.
And what happens is that a farmer in the area starts, and I'll just give you one example. It's got nothing to do with us, but Vic No Till was run by the cropping. No, it was a cropping. What you might say, just a group of farmers getting together and exchanging information on cropping. Right, it had a new young blokes got in because they'd been listening to biological farming, or maybe even our DVDs, and they started sort of trying to bring in biological farming. This is before regenerative farming had a name as such, and the old guard didn't like it. So they went off to bird-chip cropping trials and left this group alone. And ever since, the leaders of that group are really into this. What do you call them? The leaders, or they're not CEOs.
No, they're just leading the way with the regen farming.
They are changed. As in the early days of Vic No Till, when the younger people took over. Quite a few of them went cold turkey into natural farming, and many of them, what the Department of Agriculture and Industry has trained farmers to do, you've got to concentrate. You're either a sheep farmer or you're a cropping farmer. So quite a few of them brought back stock, brought back their sheep, or brought back the cattle, mainly sheep. For cropping, it's mainly sheep, and a few of them actually went cold turkey straight away. Yeah, so that's a dramatic thing. What you sort of say, how many farmers you are influencing, but farmers are influencing themselves now as well, and because there's there's numerous success stories in every farming district of farmers who are successful. And the funny thing is this: when I read it's not funny actually, it's quite serious. There's a family in South Australia, on this sort of pretty close to the Victorian border. They've got a couple of thousand acres. They've got 3 generations of people running on it, and they are farming naturally, various means. Obviously been trained by, of course, real resources consulting service sort of courses, or grazing, etc. They run 3 different enterprises on their property. They've got the cropping, a bit of cropping. They've got their sheep, and they've also got farm stay and farm tours. And the other interesting thing what they've done is, because farming is farm ownership is, it's a bit, when you've got a big three three tiers of family on the farm. One tier is actually not on the farm. But what they've done is quite successfully separated the farm as a business and the farm operation as a business, not the farm land as a business, and everyone has a finger in the farm land business. The fact the farm land goes up, etc. So it's very cleverly done what farmers are doing now. And
have you got children to take your...
Donna, I just want to stop.
No,
And
go.
the thing what they say, that the farmers around them are not interested in what they've done.
Yes, why?
Search me.
That's the problem. It's very difficult for a farmer to start farming regeneratively in many districts because even their children get ostracised at school because they're not the same. And
really?
Oh yes, it's pretty tough. And they have weeds, and people don't like seeing weeds because they're going to get the weeds from their property. They're really, a lot of them are ostracised. But the oh no, I've lost my track. I'm just looking at these comments coming through with edible weeds.
I better get back to that. Sorry, I got involved with what you were saying.
No, it's all right. There's just a comment about edible weeds. Our salad tonight is nearly all edible weeds.
Not quite, Helen.
Was it really?
No, it's herbs. It's herbs, it's not edible weeds.
All right, but some of them are weeds.
Yeah,
thistles and dandelions.
Herbs and weeds from the garden.
Yeah.
Milk thistles, that is.
Chemicals.
Yeah. And, a bit of comfrey and all sorts of stuff. We just pick it. Even the beech leaves are good for you. So that...
What a beech leaf.
Beech. And violets, a lot of flowers you can eat, and the range of minerals. There's Dr. Arden Anderson, who was a very early pioneer in this field. He says we should have 76?
No, 26 different
plants on your plate every day.
Yeah, I don't know how.
So
he made it quite clear that's what you should do, but we don't get anywhere near that.
No, but it's interesting because we've lost that variety. People don't cook from scratch anymore. Maybe this audience does, and I hope you do, because we've lost so much with the processing. And I want to tell you, Donna, you've got a Thermomix, haven't you? No?
I have. Yes.
I bought one a long time ago, and I started looking at what was in the food we'd been buying from the supermarket. I had to list everything, and I started seeing all the additives that you forget about. And even Parmesan cheese has aluminium added to it so it runs. And there's so many products like that. So the Thermomix is great because you just chuck in half a kilo of Parmesan cheese and it takes 10 seconds to become, the way we want to use it. So apart from all this farming stuff, we're very, very interested in nutrition and people being aware. The food triangle now, they say, I think it's still saying meat and dairy at the top. The advice the government gives is pathetic. But unfortunately, there's not many nutrients left in the food that are being produced, and this is what we're
such a concern.
Yeah. Even
I stopped shopping at supermarkets. I don't even know how long ago, many years ago, and I accessed local farm gates and all that sort of stuff. I do go back there every now and then but only for something very small. But I hate even walking into them. It's like I've given in, but it would be something, I don't know, it'd be something small, but I still, I don't like it. I think it's just terrible. And like a lot of people say, we've got the health section, and the health section's got smaller and smaller and smaller. And so we look at the rest of the supermarket and what's in there.
Shocking. Well, the one thing we do, Donna, we do go into Aldi sometimes. We're very lucky we've got a BD and organic warehouse down the road. So what we can't grow, we go there. But this some people will recognise it is called a Brix meter, and you put the juice of a grape or whatever and close it down, look through the prism, and it will show you the level of
dissolved minerals.
Now, believe it or not, Aldi's grapes were 22.
No, 30.
34.
34.
Okay, which is unbelievable. They're usually about 10. So
no, don't exaggerate, Helen.
Oh, I do.
It's lovely to have real people on.
Yeah, good grapes. And
don't exaggerate, Helen. Tell us the truth. What's in these grapes?
Well, Hugo's right. They're not. I tend to exaggerate. I like to tell a good story.
Yeah.
But the grapes, Aldi's actually had on their window a couple of years ago, we use Brix meters. And I said to Hugo, well, who would know on earth what they're talking about? But it did indicate to me that they're aware of the value of nutrients in their food. And I know that Coles and Woolworths have Farmer of the Year and things like this, and they do award the farmers that are doing the right thing. So I think it will slowly change, but it's going to take like everything, it'll take a long time. So
Clark has asked, do you have any troubles with rat's tail grass?
I don't know what that weed is.
No, because we're not a big enterprise, but we actually have, people might like to write this down too, we have a Facebook group called Regenerative Farmers Who Know the Value of Healthy Soil. Anyone can join, and they put questions in there and we answer them. So that may be something that Clark would like to look up. Mm-hmm. And join that Facebook group. It's free. So it's called Regenerative Farmers Who Know the Value of Healthy Soils.
Okay.
So what's
where do you get it? I'm presuming we're talking about that little Brix meter.
Well, we've got a very close friend who sells them. He's actually now building what he's calling a Nutri-meter, which will be electronic, and you'll just point it at fruit or vegetables in the store and it will read out a complete list of the minerals in that food. Like, it's fantastic. But
I need one of those, and I will go around to everything in the store and I'll say it out loud.
Exactly. And I have to say, some of the things we grow don't have high Brix levels. So that's a bit disappointing because it's indicating a lack of good soil nutrient being released. So these things are really fantastic for a first start of understanding the value of your food. Karen, if you want to email Helen at Farming Secrets, I can get you the connection to the man who does sell them, because online they're usually anything up to $400. He sells them for under $50. So
really,
contact.
Brix meter is the name online.
It's a fun instrument too.
COVID scandemic. Brix meter is the same name online. Oh, okay. Do they have a price? We'll see.
Is it yours?
It doesn't matter.
No, this one is just called a Nutri-meter.
I'd like to come up with another issue. It's very easy to blame supermarkets, and supermarkets are trying to do the right thing by people, because I keep reading real papers, the Australian real papers, and there was a very, very big strawberry grower in Queensland who was favoured as one of Coles' preferred suppliers, who didn't use any synthetic fertilisers, used compost, etc. Right, And then I just read a couple of months ago a very big farming grower who grows in South Australia, who grows the normal fast-growing vegetables, and he explained what he was doing. And he has two preferred clients, both Woolworths and Coles, and he works with using natural fertilizers wherever he can, and he doesn't go spraying for insects or whatever, because he grows a lot of crops that will have predators, which will have predators. And it also says when they do have a problem with they have to spray, they'll only spray selectively on that one particular area, and they've got quite a few thousand acres on what they're doing. So you are getting the supermarket, and supermarkets are conscious of the quality of the produce that they want to buy. And then another interesting point too is that what are you pointing me out to?
There's a question.
We'll come back to the question. I just want to finish talking.
Mm-hmm.
The two very big abattoirs. The two very big abattoirs have a pretty strong stipulation on what's meant by grass-fed animals, and they're actually favouring farmers who are grazing their animals on natural pastures, more natural pastures than synthetic pastures. So you've got quite a strong movement of farmers who are supplying these, farmers who've got know a lot about produce, farmers who've got integrity, and these companies, abattoirs, who are wanting to buy their produce under fairly strict guidelines of this is what we want and this is what you've got to do. No sneaking in a whole lot of supplementary products to fatten up the animals before you send them to us. So there are a lot of good moves in the industry.
Well, that's good to hear. Are they labelled? How do we know which ones? Because I'm sure there's a lot of that have got lots of chemicals on them. So how do we know? Is there labels on there?
Yes, quite clearly.
Grass-fed
it's grass-fed both in the big supermarkets. I very much doubt whether there'd be any fudging going on. Especially when I've talked to the farmers who have to supply these abattoirs, pretty strict conditions.
There's not a lot of certified labelling though. You get Maxi, whatever it is. You do get them labelling if it's organic or NASA's just been closed down, and you do see it's pasture fed. The same with the eggs, but it is growing, and I think we will see more of it. And one thing that the government is doing is getting rid of caged eggs and things like this, over time. So a
lot of the farmers that actually aren't, just from what I'm hearing, they're actually getting ripped off, aren't they? They're not making a lot of money where the supermarkets are.
No, and that's why we're supporting farmers to supply their own community. And
that's what we're doing.
Yes, and know where your food's coming from.
Pantry. I'm not there at the moment, but we get off the local farmers, whatever we get. Yeah, organic.
Very important.
And I think we need to have lots of them.
Yep. And there are a lot of now boxes made up on farms where they have done the right thing. They can't get certification because they can't afford it. But if you know your farmer and you support your locals, it's not bad. I think it's pretty good. You can't be too black and white. But when they say with eggs, eggs, they say, oh, yes, pasture-fed and everything else. We've been to those farms and they're in huge sheds with 18 inches in the side. Oh, yes, the chooks will go out, but they don't. So it's, this tricky
Yes.
Eggs in particular, you really need to check where the farm is and know your farm. You know, we order meat whenever we just locally there's someone growing sheep, and we occasionally get one, and we know that it's chemical free. You know. So in answer to Nettie, yes, in the Bible it says the Bible is marvelous for a lot of things that used to be said about food and looking after yourself, but they should be given a rest. And this is called holistic management, where the animals stay in a paddock until the grass is about 10, 12 inches. And then the farmer moves them on to the next paddock and doesn't bring them back until the grass is recovered. And
I think what Helen was trying to say, the proper word for it is managing your pasture, is pasture management. And there's quite a few different terms about it. But the farmer usually the farmers do quite an intensive course. And as I was told by a leading consultant, the course is quite long, but the first so many days is actually working on the farmers to change their mindset, right? And then the actual the farm planning and regulating how you run your stock becomes it's much easier. And the other funny thing, I keep saying funny thing, but other extraordinary thing is the farmers who do this grazing, I think the course is called Grazing for Profit, who've done this course, and there are other people have a course as well. But that's the most famous course. It gets the best results from what I understand. The extraordinary thing is that the pastures, what they looking after that, because they graze for a certain species of grasses and the recovery. It's to do with the recovery of the species, and especially the species that they want. And what happens is the weeds disappear, the unwanted grasses tend to disappear, better grasses come in, and quite often in the areas of Australia where there've been natural pastures anyway, or what was called by, the biggest state in the world, what's his name?
Bill Gamage.
Bill Gamage. Australia was just full of what they used to call parkland, trees and grasses. And what's happening on those farms who are farming with stock management or grass management? It's actually grass management. It's not just any and a lot of observation. They're getting the native grasses coming back onto their property. And the Department of Agriculture, when we're selling natural fertilizers, would say native grasses, they're interesting, but they won't make the farmer profitable. That was because they were abused and they weren't looked after. And once the grazing is done properly, the native grasses make the animals so robust that they quite often don't need any chemicals or anything to keep them. That's in. I'm not talking about where there's ticks, etc.
2 minutes.
Yeah. So
we just need to get through a few little questions because we've only got a couple of minutes left because Michael's coming on. So I can't go into Michael's time. I'll get into trouble. So we need your email address again, Helen. So it's
Helen at farmingsecrets.com.
Helen.
Helen at farmingsecrets.com. There's a comment about Bill Gates' appeal. Yes, I hope the organic movement here don't allow that to be labelled organic with that appeal. It's just disgusting what's happening.
Is that not happening in here? Is that? Oh, that's happening here though.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's been approved by the Organic Association or not, and if it has, it's a great shame.
Okay.
But this happens.
They want to know. People want to know where you are in the Dandenong Ranges. Are you happy to say that?
Oh,
yeah,
little town called the Patch, which is next to Monbulk.
Passing Billy country.
Up the patch the other day looking at a hemp house because I had David Bryan on who does build hemp houses, and he's built one in the patch. It's beautiful.
Oh,
It's one of my
give us the details.
Yes. Yeah, we all need to join together, I think.
Yes, yeah, and we're opposite the patch store, and they're fantastic people. They do all their own cooking and things like that too. So come up for
Who's that? Sorry.
Yeah.
So people want you to come back on, okay? So you want to come back on and tell us more. I don't think we've got enough information out of you yet. That measures the. All right, I think we're grain.
And that, yes, I don't know about this finished off on grain. I know they do it, but I don't know whether you can taste the difference. Mentally, you can, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know what that is, to be honest.
What they do is they have the cattle in feedlots too, and they'll finish them off at the end on grain to get the protein.
Yeah. Oh no, during the drought times, the farmers could finish off the sheep in what they call a sacrifice paddock with a whole lot of grains to bring them up to weight so that they could be sold like at 24 kilo carcass weight.
Gotcha.
Yeah, rather than 18. Well, unmarketable, you might say, until they fattened up a little bit.
Yeah. So look, Donna, people let us know what they want to hear about.
Okay.
Yeah, we're happy to come back because we do know quite a bit.
It's beautiful having you on. Absolutely beautiful. Real people with really beautiful, passionate hearts, and it's a pleasure to actually see your face instead of just speak to you on the phone. So thank you very, very much. Thank you, everyone else, for coming on tonight.
Opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you. We've got to get back to nature, don't we?
Oh, it's the only way. It's the only way. We're pretty much like hermits now. We've sort of reckoned a little bit.
All right, then. We'll have a lovely week and hopefully we'll see you soon. Take care.
No, Donna, thank you. And bye-bye, everyone. And thank you for your questions.
Thank you for your questions.
Bye.
Yeah.
Something was wrong, we felt it inside. Something told us do not comply. Turn off the news, turn off the TV. It's time to think, get off your knees. We tried to warn loved ones, oh did we try? We tried to save lives, but we were denied. Sadly we failed and many of them died. We were kicked to the side, we did not hide. We took to the streets, we would not comply. Our conscience told us this was the world's largest lie. At first we were few, but we shortly grew. Melbourne streets saw sights that had never been seen. We fought for our rights, for all to be free. People thrown to the ground, pepper spray to the face. No matter what age, we were locked up and caged. Then the guns came out, they had no care. They shot their own people, running in fear, unarmed and peaceful. We stood for our rights, they would not stop us. We would not give up the fight. We were locked out of cafes, our families withdrew. No Christmas, no birthdays, no celebrations we knew. We were germs, enemies, a danger to you. You watched the counts on mainstream news. No further would you look, we were all cooked. Deluded, brainwashed, segregation we lived through, whilst you lived your life without any clue. People thrown to the ground, pepper sprayed to the face. No matter what age, we were locked up and caged. Then the gun shot their own people, running in fear, unarmed and peaceful. We stood for our rights. They would not stop us. We would not give up the fight. Something was wrong, we felt it inside. Something told us, do not comply.